Hi, everybody. Happy day, weekend after Thanksgiving. Does anyone else lose track of time during a school holiday? I certainly have. So I talked to you about Sadie on Sunday, and if you have not read it yet, go get it right now. It is amazing. So in my last video, we talked about Sadie. So I drove back to Austin last night and I listened to another audiobook. And I also, okay, is anybody else a weirdo like this where they'll listen to the audiobook and then they carry the book actually around with them so they can see how far they've gone through the audiobook as they're listening to the audiobook, and then like you read and then you skip ahead in the audiobook of what you already read? No, just me. Either way, whatever. So I listened to another audiobook for another Sybil's nominee. I'm sorry, that is my mother texting me. For another Sybil's nominee, and this one was so good. It is a perfect book for women right now because it is very much about women who want to do more than they can, and it is a historical fiction where women are being told, no, you can't do more. Men do everything, and I'm sorry, because you're a woman, you don't get to be a doctor, and you don't get to be in charge of pirates, and you don't get to be captain of a boat, and you don't get to be a naturalist, and you don't get to have your name on your research that you have done because you're a woman. So it sucks because these women want to do more, and they want to be more than just housewives and having kids, and they want to do more. And so this book is really, really cool. It is a sequel in this series about these children who have kind of shitty parents. The boy has been abused by his father because he's bisexual, and the daughter is kind of ignored because she's the daughter. And she's been sent to like boarding schools and finishing schools, and it just never took for her. And if you don't know what I'm talking about by now, it is the Montague siblings series. So the first one was The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, and the second one, this is, oh sorry, the glare is kind of preventing me from showing this. This is A Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. So where the first book is about Monty and his adventure with Percy and going on their grand tour as men, this is about Felicity and how she is on a quest to be a doctor, and that's all she wants in the world. So Felicity wants nothing more in the world than to be a doctor. And it starts off with her in Scotland, and she's living in a boarding house for women, and she's working in a bakery with this man. And the man assumes that she loves him because she's been working there for so long. So of course, what other reason would a woman have for working? So he proposes to her and assumes that this is what she wants. And she's like, no, I want to be a doctor, and I'm staying here because I'm trying to get into interviews with these boards of men and trying to convince them to let me study and be a student. And he's like, oh, but yeah, like that's just a phase, right? Like you don't really want to be a doctor. You want to be a wife and like work here in the bakery with me. And she's like, no, I don't want that. And so she just leaves and she's like, I'm out. And she says that she's going to London to see her brother and makes up this whole story about why she needs to go to London, but she does. And so she goes off to London, and there she discovers that she can find a way to meet this doctor that she's idolizing, Dr. Alexander Platt, who's a giant douchebag, actually. Sorry, that's not a spoiler. And so she finds out that there's a way that he is taking in people to study with him and to go on a journey with him to do something. And so she's like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to go and I'm going to meet him. And it just so happens that he is about to marry one of her friends from when she was younger. Convenient? No, because she and her friend hate each other because her friend has decided that she's going to be the type of woman that wears dresses and petticoats and fluffy things and bows and bright colors and is just a lady. And Felicity is not about that life. Felicity is about wearing boots and not heels and working and not petticoats. And so they are no longer friends because of that. And it's really, really cool because there comes a point where her friend, Joanna, tells her, just because I like petticoats and just because I like being pretty and just because I like wearing pretty things and putting a bow on my dog does not make me dumb. It doesn't make me any less smart than you, and it doesn't make me any less or any more of an adventurer than you are. We just want different things, and it's okay because we're both women and we should support each other. And it's really cool because Felicity has this moment where she's like, oh, you're right. Like we are both women, and it's okay that we're different, and it's okay because we're friends and I do support you. And so it's really cool to see that on a page because you actually get to live in that moment with her where she's discovering like, oh, this is okay that we're different, and it is okay that she likes tour dresses and I don't, and it's okay, and it's such a cool moment in the book. And so her friend is getting married, and of course, Felicity, being the awkward, poor thing that she is, kind of makes some mistakes. And so she ends up going after this Mr. Platt and telling him, like, I want to be a doctor and I want to study under you, and I think you're amazing. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, and tells her all this random crap. And it turns out that he's a douchebag and really only wants Joanna for something that her mother has worked on. Her mother has passed away now. And so they go on this adventure to find what Joanna's mother has left that Alexander Platt wants. And it is so cool. Like, there is no better women empowerment book right now. And like, women can do things just as well, if not better than men can book. And it was so cool to see because like it's Joanna and it's Felicity, and they meet this girl Sim, who is the princess of a pirate gang or group. I don't know how pirates call themselves in groups, but she's like the princess of one of those groups, and she wants to be a pirate captain. And so they go on this journey to find these things that Joanna's mom was working on, and it is amazing. And the whole time things are going on, like people will get hurt or somebody has an accident. And for some reason, Felicity has to help them because she is a doctor and she just doesn't know it yet. And so she knows things like stitching and how to do stitches and how to help someone that has been poisoned. And it's really cool to see how her mind works. And so she finally accepts the fact that she is a doctor, whether she's recognized by men as that or not. She is. And it was just so much of a fun book. So the first one, Gentleman's Guide, was a really, really cool adventure because Felicity's like along for the ride with everything. And this was fun because this is Felicity's story. And it was so cool to just watch her go from being like this, nah, I'm trying and I'm trying and I'm pushing and I'm pushing and I'm never getting anywhere, to accepting the fact that she can do it and she just has to keep working towards it. And she gets this self-confidence that is really cool to just watch her blossom into. And so it's a really, really fun book. Again, this is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. Now, I listened to the audiobook. I didn't just read the book. And I have to tell you, the audiobook was not great. Not because the book is not great. The book is amazing and fantastic, but the audiobook is really hard to understand. I was doing a 5-hour road trip, so there was a lot of road noise. And the narrator of the book is really, really soft-spoken. She also has a very thick accent. And there's a lot of times in the book where Felicity is speaking to someone and then she switches to talking to herself in her mind, and it's a thought. And in the book, it's really easy to understand because she's no longer speaking to a person. But in the audiobook, you can't tell where that changes. And Felicity does a lot of inner thought. So it's hard to kind of see where that difference is. And then the other thing was, it was really hard to hear that narrator. Like, I had the volume all the way up in my car. I had the volume all the way up on my phone so that I could hear. And it was just really hard to hear her. But I think maybe if I was someone who was like listening at a desk, or if I had my headphones in, or if I was like running, it would have been easier, but it wasn't great to listen to on the road. So maybe don't do the audiobook. I also did buy the ebook because I wanted to read it when I was like running errands or doing other things on my phone. And it was good. It was fine. It was just like reading the book. Nothing was lost. But if you do want the audiobook, it is good. You won't really lose anything. Just keep in mind the narrator is very soft-spoken, but you don't lose anything from the book. It's still great. One thing that the narrator does really, really well, though, is she shows and you hear the emotion that Felicity is trying to give off when she's thinking and when she's angry and when she's upset, because then she raises her voice a little. And I think that's trying to show us how women could not behave back then. They couldn't raise their voices and they couldn't get upset. So when she does, you audibly hear that difference. So again, it was awesome. It was a really, really fun book. I'm definitely going to continue its nomination as a Sybil's Award nominee. So yeah, that's it. That is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice. And sorry, no, this is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. It's really, really fun. I hope you read it. Mackenzi Lee did a great job in this, and I can't wait for her next book. Bye, y'all. Have a great weekend.